Welcome to Sasquatch and Sourdough, the podcast where we embark on a journey into the depths of the unknown, weaving together threads of ancient scripture, tales of high strangeness, and the joys of nature. Whether you're a seeker of truth, a lover of the great outdoors, or simply hungry for a good story, Sasquatch and Sourdough invites you to join us on a journey of discovery, wonder, and deliciousness. So grab your backpack, sharpen your senses, and prepare to explore the sacred mysteries of our highly strange world like never before.
Welcome back to Sasquatch and Sourdough. I am your host, Christina, and I am joined by my beautiful best friend, Crystal.
Hi.
We're back in the studio.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. Summer's over. The children are back to school.
Yep.
It's almost spooky season.
It feels kind of dark and dreary today with a little bit of rain.
It does.
It's our favorite weather.
It's our favorite weather. It's the best time to be talking about spooky things. So before we dive in, though, I wanted to just thank this community just keeps growing. It's amazing. Like Instagram is like popping off.
It's great.
I'm really excited about just like all the comments and people are really listening. So fix your phone again.
Not my phone.
Yep.
It's blue.
Beep. Every time we tried to sit down and record, we had this thing rolling and recording. It must be something like when you talk into it.
I don't know. It's weird. All of a sudden we started getting into it. It's like...
Are you chipped to your phone?
Hope not.
What did you buy at the Android store?
I don't know. Maybe they knocked me out. And
something
put
happened.
Something in me.
It's like an episode of the X-Files.
I missed a chunk of time. How long have I been here? 3 hours?
Been at the mall for 3 hours. It's not even Friday night. I don't get it. All right. So anyway, well, that's a cold open. Hey, look, see, you wanted to do cold opens. Now we just did one.
Good.
Okay, good. All right. Well, we're warmed up a little bit. We've got some really fun ground to cover. I think today we're going to dive into another cryptid, or I guess creature, really, from Maryland.
Yeah.
The GoatMan.
Urban legend. The GoatMan.
Yeah, the GoatMan. So yeah. But before we do that, I had a weird question for you, Crystal.
Yes.
If if for some reason we found ourselves in Middle Earth,
ooh,
and we were in that amazing landscape,
oh boy,
here we go. What character would you be? Like, who would you be?
Okay, so I have two. Thinking mostly I would be Treebeard. I would like to be Treebeard because he keeps to himself. He doesn't really want to get involved in any of it. I would just want to hang out in the forest and pretend that nothing bad is happening around me. I'm good. Just kind of like in this weird depression fog. Like, where are the wives? Where did the Entwives go?
These trees were my friends.
And then they all stopped moving and they're old. And they grew roots.
But then when it like really hits the fan, though, you take action.
Then I took action because, I would need to help Mary and Pippin and, take down Isengard and flood everything.
To like get into, yeah, okay.
Yeah, then I would get it, called to duty. I would rise up. But besides that, I just kind of want to hang out in the forest and pretend that everything's cool.
Okay.
Yeah. But I also have another one.
Okay.
Tom Bombadil.
Oh, Tom Bombadil.
He's another character that is not affected. He's just hanging out in the woods with Goldenberry. He's not affected by the ring at all. He's like, everything's cool.
Not quite sure why he wasn't really in all the movies, but
he just randomly breaks out into song. He's this happy little fella.
Tom Bombadil. It's like that Portlandia episode.
Yeah. So what's yours?
It's amazing because Crystal and I are best friends, but we're totally opposite.
Yes, we are. Yeah.
Because you know who I would be?
Who would you be?
I would be an elf.
Oh, okay. I was thinking like Galadriel for you.
I don't know.
It's a lot of power.
Just a lot of power. Just a lot. I'm already so intense.
An elf? Yeah. Okay.
No, but like, the reason this all brought up is because intern Rob and I were watching the new Lord of the Rings show.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Rings of Power. Yeah.
I don't know. It's, if you got Lord of the Rings on Temu, I don't like it. No, it just really, I don't know. I think it's lame. So I was asking him, like who he would be
Mm-hmm.
if everything kind of, and of course he said he'd be a hobbit and I was like, of course you'd be a hobbit.
Yeah.
You'd just be
But
hanging out and eating.
in all reality, I think we would end up being hobbits because we like to eat and we like to be cozy.
I do like being cozy. So I have a really interesting, I have access to like kind of a private collection of old newspapers.
Mm-hmm.
And I found one from 1793.
Ooh.
And this is the Massachusetts Magazine, or Monthly Museum of Knowledge and National Entertainment. All the way in the back, they have so domestic occurrences, and underneath that category, they have a collection of curious animals.
Nice.
So this is called Curious Animal. A very extraordinary animal has lately been discovered on the Bald Mountain and other mountains in the Western Territory. This animal is between 12 and 15 feet high.
Whoa.
And in shape resembling a human being.
Whoa.
So, yeah. Except the head, which is in equal proportions to its body and drawn in somewhat like a terrapin. Its feet are about 2 feet long and hairy and are of dark dune color. Its eyes are exceedingly large and open and shut up and down its face. The hair of its head is about 6 inches long, stands straight.
Whoa. And
its nose is that of a human species, only large and inclined to what is called Roman. So I guess it's kind of like elongated.
Yeah.
Like a Roman nose.
Mm-hmm.
These animals are bold and have lately attempted to kill several persons, in which attempts some of them have been they've been shot. The inhabitants of this place call it a Yahoo.
Oh,
have you ever heard of a Yahoo?
Yeah, I have.
I have never heard of a Yahoo. And then it says the Indians give it its name of Chickly Cuddly.
Okay, because I was going to say that's Native American folklore.
Bald Mountain, Utah?
Utah, that sounds about right. That's Western Territory.
Okay, there's apparently a bunch of them. Yeah, so Utah.
Yeah. He said the magazine article said, or newspaper article said Western Territory.
Yeah, so the Yahoo.
That's out west. Yeah.
Bald Mountain Yahoo?
That's interesting.
Isn't that neat?
Yeah.
I thought that.
I've heard of that.
Oh my god, internet. Seriously. So I said Bald Mountain Yahoo, and like every search is actually Yahoo.
A Yahoo search.
Give me a break.
Is it a Yahoo or Yowie? A Yowie is different, right?
It was spelled Yahoo. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's also it's called a Yowie, which is like another Bigfoot type creature.
Oh, really?
In a different area. Search that.
How do you?
Yowie. Yowie.
Yowie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Yowie Yahoo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think they're connected. That is a
Yahoo.
Really neat article.
So yeah, and it's funny because this collection is put together by a gentleman who really was interested in piracy. Okay. So when I was going through, you can really miss a lot. These papers were intended to sit down and actually read through the entire thing because that's where you got all your news.
Yeah.
So I was combing through for piracy, and I'm so glad that I marked that. I put a little pencil spot, and there's another one too that I want to talk about next week. I want to get kind of just comb through these and have little
that's cool
clips because what happened? Did anybody follow up with that? What happened to it?
12 to 15 feet tall. That's incredible.
That's insane.
That sounds like a mountain troll or, a giant. Doesn't it?
It
the
does,
big nose.
right?
It kind of reminds me of a mountain troll.
It does.
Yeah.
All right. So speaking of troll-like things rolling around countrysides, we have a really good episode today because we're talking about the GoatMan.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I feel like a lot of our stuff goes right back to trolls. We end up with bridges.
Oh, yeah.
And weird vagrants under through the bridges. So
well, we're definitely back to bridges with the GoatMan. There's something with bridges. They're supernatural. There's always supernatural things tied to these bridges.
There has to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when we talked about Jericho Bridge, we talked about like the rushing water. You know, you're kind of like at this, I don't even know if it would be a threshold, but you know, you're crossing one side over the other. Yeah. You know, so it is kind of like a little bit of a threshold there. Yeah. So
did you? Interesting.
Yeah, it is.
GoatMan is an urban legend from Maryland, and there's also a GoatMan in Texas. And he's an urban legend around the country, but he's not so popular as he is in Maryland and Texas. So our GoatMan, there's a bunch of different stories about where GoatMan came from. It's like three different ideas of where GoatMan came from. So one of my favorite ones is that he was a scientist at the Beltsville Agricultural Research Center. He was experimenting on goats, and something went wrong, and he morphed into a half goat, half man.
Oh, like Spider-Man.
He became very murderous and decided to carry around an axe and attack cars, dogs, people like lovers on Lover's Lane. There's like that whole story about sitting in a car and the guy with the axe comes up to your window, but he's not just a dude, he's a half goat.
It's not the Zodiac.
Yeah.
No.
So where do these urban legends come from? I have no idea. I mean, people are seeing something around this bridge. So the bridge is called the Governor's Bridge. It's in Prince George's County. And there's a couple of different areas that people have claimed to see GoatMan. So they say that he's in Beltsville, which is near the agricultural center, but he's also been seen on Fletchertown Road in Bowie, Maryland. And he's also been seen on Tucker Road in Clinton, Maryland. Now, these are all kind of near each other.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm sure GoatMan's getting around. You know, he might be in Beltsville, he might be on the bridge, might, you know, whatever. That there was a hermit on Fletchertown Road in Beltsville, and that's where that agricultural center was. He walks the roads hunting and such, and he likes to just scare kids because they're always out there looking for GoatMan. So he's just like, "Boo, I'm the GoatMan."
Nice.
You know?
He's like, you know what?
He's a funny hermit.
And you want GoatMan?
Here he is.
I will be GoatMan for you. I will be your GoatMan.
But there's also a University of Maryland student that I found that did a lot of research on GoatMan. In May of 1971, the University of Maryland student George Lizama completed an undergraduate folklore project on the GoatMan. Later, it was added to Maryland Folklore Archives.
Oh, cool.
Which is something I would really like to explore. I don't think we've ever looked at that. And in Lizama's paper, the GoatMan is said to be located on Tucker Road in Clinton, Maryland, like I said earlier. Later that year, there was a reporter named Karen Hostler, and she discovered Lizama's project in the archives, and she reported in the Prince George's County News in October of 71 that the GoatMan was seen near Fletchertown Road at Bowie. So all these different people at all different times in history have seen GoatMan all over Prince George's County. I thought that was pretty interesting that there's so many
like little sightings.
Yeah, and documentation, like really good documentation.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not just you know, it's not, I mean, not that oral history is not like important, but that things have been like written down and documented. Yeah.
Yeah. The Folklore Archives of Maryland. I didn't even know that was a thing. So yeah, I would like to look into that further.
Shame on us.
Yeah. I thought it was funny. There was, when I was researching this, I was researching all of these different police reports from people that were reporting seeing the GoatMan, and really it was just a prank. And the law enforcement of the area was getting really irritated going out and researching all these like prank calls about the GoatMan. So it's like a teenager, you know, teenagers usually love lore, you know, legend. And, you know, when you're a teenager, that's all you do is drive around like looking for urban legends.
Well, especially like if it, I don't really know a lot about Prince George's County, but if it's like rural and, you know, and a lot of these take place in the 70s.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what you did.
Yeah.
Like you drove around your car looking for scary stuff, going over scary bridges.
And then making prank phone calls to the police.
Making prank phone calls. This one's called Peeping Tom GoatMan. out around some of the old back roads in Oxon Hill, where couples would go for some privacy, there were lots of stories about people who saw a creature with the body of a goat and the torso, arms, and head of a man.
Oh.
They would hear scuffling noises on the dirt road, and they would see the hoof-footed creature outside of the car, and that's like an anonymous source. I don't know. Like, that is pretty easy to kind of... If you wanted to pretend you were the goat man.
Yeah. I don't know.
They
could just be having, like, baggy pants on and shirtless. You know, who knows? Like a crazy shirtless redneck running around. I'm coming to get you, kids.
Come here, kid. Get out of the car.
Well, he's a peeping Tom, so that makes
peeping.
even more sense.
The peeper.
He's just sitting there because he knows they're gonna be parking.
2 common variations of the myth involve the scientists were...
Yeah, and there's so many different versions. Like, the one I read was, like, he morphed into, like, a half goat, half human, because he was, like, trying, you know, like, the island of Dr. Moreau, where he's, like...
Oh, that's creepy.
experimenting on animals and trying to figure out, like, how to hybridize them and clone them. And
I mean, yeah. Ew.
Yeah.
Ugh. It's kind of... It goes down a whole rabbit trail.
It really does.
And then, so the missing animals. So the most persistent accusation against the goat man is that he assaults pets. The area has suffered several rashes of mutilated or missing animals, including several instances reported in 1971 in the Washington Post that actually mentions the goat man.
Oh, wow.
And
they were mutilated? They weren't just, like, killed?
Yeah, so it says in some instances the decapitated corpses of missing animals have actually been found, but there are other circumstances, like you brought up, like the railroad track, so that's kind of people are like, well, it's by the railroad, you know, they could have just gotten hit by a train. And then it goes on to say some even claim to have witnessed the goat man throwing dogs off of Interstate 495. So I don't know if that's happened. And then it says, as recently as August 2000, a group of construction workers cited a Sasquatch-like creature that, in their estimation, stood 12 feet high in stature, traversing an area of Washington suburbs.
In a world where legends roam, there's one thing they all envy: Sasquatch's magnificent mane.
Wow, have you seen Sasquatch's hair? It's incredible. I wish my hair was that thick and luscious.
Say goodbye to thinning hair and hello to Sasquatch-level locks with Bigfoot Growth Elixir. Our scientifically formulated serum promises thicker, fuller hair in just weeks. Unleash your inner cryptid and embrace the legend. Unlock your hair's potential with Bigfoot Growth Elixir today.
I never knew my hair could look this good.
When you're driving to D.C. on, like, 295 between Maryland and D.C., there's this huge swath of land that's a protected wildlife area. And it's a big park. I forget what it's called, but you drive through it going into D.C. It's huge. And there's a lot of, you know, government installations all throughout this park where you need, like, special clearance to, like, go to certain areas in this park. So there's definitely, like, experimentation things happening all around DC and the area where GoatMan is being seen. Yeah, that's why I really enjoy the scientist theory, because there's so much weird stuff going on around, you know, DC, down around Prince George's County. People's imaginations probably just run wild.
Yeah, Prince George's County, crossing over the Patuxent River. This place is Crybaby Bridge, right in the middle of Goatman territory. A baby apparently tragically died in the river back in the 1950s, and locals still argue about what really happened that day. Some say that it's like all the same story.
It's the same lore that was on Jericho Bridge.
Yep. That a young mother threw her illegitimate child over the bridge, only to take her own life as well. And then the more recent theory focuses again on the KKK and like the ritual killing of the black man. Yeah. So that is again tied back to like why that specific bridge is haunted. Yeah. But it's all like it ties together in the same area.
So it's like a vortex of supernatural occurrences. And the reason it's called Crybaby Bridge is because of all the supernatural entities that have been seen on and around the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Goatman ties into that however you want. He's a cryptid. But with the Oscar Washburn being hung and with the woman with her baby,
yeah,
you can still see Oscar. People have claimed to still see Oscar going back and forth on the bridge with his rifle and like whispering to people to stay away, go away. Like he's still like fighting for his territory and his freedom, like in his ghostly form, which is really sad.
That's really sad.
But yeah. But people tie that to Goatman because when you go to that bridge and you hear a ghost telling you to go away, stay away, they're like, oh, he must be warning me against Goatman. You know, that's how that ties together.
Yeah.
You
know, is it more that we're just so susceptible to be like, oh, okay, well, again, we know like weird spooky legends of, you know, bridges and things like that, or is it just like bad stuff happens there, you know?
That's the question, I guess, is how much bad stuff happened there to create this like vortex of spiritual activity, you know, supernatural activity. But then there's also, you've heard one story about a bridge. Now every bridge you see is haunted. I don't know.
Yeah, and it almost becomes like that aesthetic kind of like pop culture.
Exactly.
You know,
oh, it's
like,
another bridge, must be haunted.
And I'm Lydia Dietz taking a picture of it in a fun hat.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. What was that? Like the Silver River Bridge or something?
Silver River Bridge.
Was it? I don't even know if that's the real name.
I don't know. I'm proud that I actually said that without stumbling. Silver River Bridge. Well, Goatman legend was popularized in the 1970s when a family came forward and blamed the brutal decapitation of their new puppy.
Aww, puppy.
On the Goatman. What's wrong with you people? And then it says that the dog's head was found 14 years later.
Ew.
What are you doing?
Where was it?
I don't know. Somewhere in Prince George. Yeah. Gross. But so everything. So we've got like two kind of like, I guess, origin points of the weird research. And then just kind of like a ticked off, you know, hobo guy under the bridge that now is maybe like killing dogs in the 70s. I don't know. Like if you were seriously like some sort of cryptid thing, like why would you kill and decapitate that dog?
I don't know.
And then leave its head.
Yeah. I'm thinking young serial killer, you know, when serial killers start out as children, they like to, you know, hurt dogs.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Oh.
You know, it could be the origin story of like a serial killer.
What if it was just like their kid?
Exactly.
Oh.
If your kid's a maniac, you killed your dog.
It's actually not Goatman.
Whoops.
Jimmy.
We're going to blame it on Goatman, though. Don't tell anybody. Little Jimmy's a little weird.
Jimmy, what happened to you?
I like the hermit story, too. That's pretty funny. So there really was a hermit. I forget his name, but it's in that article that we have by Puglia. And he does, there was a real hermit that lived in a little shack, like a little ramshackle shack on the side of, near Governor's Bridge. And he hunted and he didn't buy anything from the store. So he had to go out like, you know, and gather and hunt. And he looked crazy and he had a wild beard and hair. So if you would have seen him walking around in the middle of the night, like that would be spooky. You know, you would think, oh, that doesn't belong there. Must be Goatman.
I mean, that tracks too, because, you know, like if he's just kind of, if you're driving around your car or whatever, if it's the same timeline.
Yeah. And he did like to play with the teenagers and scare them because they were out there looking for Goatman. He thought it was hysterical. He's like, here.
I kind of like that.
And he didn't want people coming around him. He was a hermit. So he didn't want you coming around his shack. So if you got too close, he scared you off.
Right, because it's like, like you said, like his territory.
Get away from my territory.
Yeah.
I'm going to start screaming at you and making weird noises.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. Just I'm just in Beetlejuice mode.
Yeah, it's like, I just love legend. Like, it just morphs into this huge story. There's so many different points of view. And the people that live there obviously were terrified.
Oh, I'm sure.
So they see Goatman around every corner.
Oh, Crybaby Bridge is closed.
You can still go, but you can't drive over it.
This is a comment. Where am I? Frightfind.com. Somebody, Anne, she said, I was one of the last people who drove over Crybaby Bridge before it closed.
Yeah.
Now it's just sitting there spookier than ever.
There's like graffiti all over it. People like write all kinds of weird stuff on it and have like bonfires. Yeah. When I was doing my research, there's just so many paranormal investigators that go out there and look for stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because you want to just have spooky time.
Yep.
In your car. Smoking your pots.
Kicking your acid.
You kids in your car. Oh, yeah. What if Goatman just wants you to get off his lawn?
Yeah.
You know?
That's the hermit.
Like, seriously.
Get out of here.
You kids in your cars going over my bridge.
Leave me alone.
Just get out of here.
You haven't paid the troll toll. Bridge trolls.
Bridge trolls.
They go hand in hand.
Everything goes back to trolls. Okay? Guys, seriously, this is why you come here for this content. Okay, everyone's talking about Dogman and Sasquatch. All right, trolls, right here.
Trolls don't get enough coverage.
Trolls do not get enough coverage. I'm sick and tired of it.
I think we need to do a deep dive.
We need to do it. Yeah, I agree. And unicorns.
Yeah,
unicorns. No one's talking about unicorns.
Well, I wanted to say there was a new show that me and Christina stumbled upon, a podcast that we really enjoy called The Belief Hole.
Oh, I love them.
No one's seen it. Go watch it. It's a really good
They're amazing
podcast. They did a couple episodes on gremlins, and I never hear stories about gremlins.
No.
They were really interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, guys, this is why we're in this community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We want to jazz it up a little bit.
The Belief Hole is really, really funny.
They're so funny.
They're hysterical.
Corey Feldman. Vampire.
So in Maryland, we have our own version of the Dogman, and he's called the Dueo.
Really?
Yeah. So Dueo comes from, Pennsylvania Dutch. And
it's another correlation.
There's another version of our Maryland Dogman called the Hexenwolf, which is German folklore.
That sounds terrifying.
I really want to research this and do an episode.
We should.
The Hexenwolf, the Dueo.
Maybe we'll do that next week.
Yes.
Okay.
It's Maryland's version of Dogman. It's really interesting.
Okay.
He's become my new favorite cryptid.
Oh. Oh, Dogman. Not the Dogman that everyone's like chasing. Everyone's chasing Dogman.
Well,
I know there's a lot out there.
I think it's what we were saying earlier. Depending on where you live geographically, you're going to have different cryptids.
Yeah.
And our Dogman is different from the Dogman, out west, or the Dogman in New York,
Yeah. Like the Goatman is different in Maryland and in Texas.
Yeah.
Or not. Because he's still hanging out at bridges.
Uh-huh. That's definitely going to create,
oh, yeah,
some supernatural vortex.
Then it was the same thing with the Jericho Bridge and the the Civil War. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Civil War soldiers.
Yeah, we've got a lot of different. I mean, our Maryland is really just ripe with history, and
yes,
and I guess that just goes hand in hand with all the weird stuff.
Definitely.
Yay. All right. Well, that was a good one. That's the Goatman, everybody. So
it's getting dicey out there.
It's getting dicey out there. It is. All right. Well, thanks for joining us. Slowly but surely, we're getting our stuff together. It's kind of exciting. Mm-hmm. We'll get there. We'll get like a hammered down format and all that jazz. But
we're just testing out the waters. Yeah. Just like telling stories.
It's fun. Mm-hmm. So yeah, wherever you're watching from, if you're watching on YouTube, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. We really want to talk and engage with you guys. Please follow us on Instagram, because I do a lot of our kind of like commenting and engagement there. So definitely follow us on Instagram and YouTube and all the things. So yeah, until next time. Bye.
So as you bid farewell to this episode, remember, you are not alone. The wilderness is alive with secrets, waiting to be discovered by those brave enough to venture forth. We want to hear your stories. Email us at sasquatchandsourdough@gmail.com. Until next time, the truth is out there, God is with you, and everyone always ends up in the kitchen.